Hi, my name is Arya Nagvekar and I'm from Redmond, Washington. My mentor was Gabby Gonzalez, and my project was a literature review of wildlife rabies, past, present, and future. I decided to choose this topic because it's so weird to me how there are thousands of deaths from rabies each year, even though it's 100% vaccine preventable. I wanted to further explore why this discrepancy exists. I decided to focus on wildlife rabies in particular because that's where most of the rabies cases in the US come from. So, people have known about rabies for thousands of years, but it wasn't until Louis Pasteur's vaccines in 1885 that people were actually able to survive an attack of rabies. From Pasteur's vaccines, scientists developed the three methods of combating wildlife rabies we have today: depopulation, or vaccines, and the trap, vaccinate, release, or trap, vaccinate, neuter release method. Depopulation is just killing large groups of animals to contain the spread of the virus, and it raises ethical and environmental concerns. Oral vaccines, pictured here, are liquid vaccines placed in bait that is covered in fish meal to attract animals. The animals ingest the vaccine, and even though this method is effective, it's pretty expensive. The trap, vaccinate, release, or trap, vaccinate, neuter release method is where scientists trap animals and vaccinate them, and also sometimes sterilize them to prevent reproduction and then release them. This method is also pretty expensive, and it can't be used as a preventative measure, but only really when there are outbreaks. So even though all these methods exist, rabies is still a big problem today, especially in Asia and Africa, as can be seen in the map. This is because governments in these areas often have bigger things like wars or food insecurity to deal with, and rabies is not a very high priority. Additionally, there's a lack of public awareness, as when people get scratches or cuts from animals, they often dismiss it as something that will heal on its own. When the symptoms of rabies start to show, it's too late to actually get any cure. In Latin America, especially, bats are also a big problem, a big reason for why rabies is still a problem, as there isn't any effective vaccine for rabies in bats yet. So beyond human deaths, there are also other effects of wildlife rabies. In endangered animals, like the Ethiopian wolf here on the left, for example, rabies can kill off dozens of them, and there are only hundreds left of the population, and threaten the survival of their species even more. When there was an outbreak of rabies among Ethiopian wolves a few years ago, uh, scientists had to vaccinate all of them individually in an effort that took lots of time, money, and labor. Rabies can also threaten the world economy. Bats often bite and spread rabies to livestock, which threatens the cattle industry. And rabies can also decrease tourism in countries where rabies is still a big problem. So even though rabies is still a problem right now, it could soon be eradicated. There are charities such as the Global Alliance for Rabies Control, and if more money is put towards these charities or government plans to combat rabies, rabies could soon be eradicated. Additionally, scientists could work on a vaccine for bats that would greatly reduce the number of cases from bats each year. Through these methods, I do believe that humans will eventually eradicate rabies. Thank you for listening.